We'll talk about the performing aspect of your life a bit later on, but let's stick with the writing. Creativity, a short and cheerful guide. John, can we learn to be creative?
Yes, absolutely. There's two reasons why kids are playful and therefore creative, because they're more or less the same things. If you can play, you can be creative. If you've forgotten how to play, it's very difficult. Two things happen as we grow up. The first is that we have to mind the shop. One of the reasons that kids can play is that their parents or teachers are minding the shop. They don't have responsibilities. And the more responsibilities you have, the harder it is to play, because play almost has to be separate from real life, and you have to create a space separate from real life before you can play. But the other thing is, Michael, that our educational system sort of teaches us not to be creative, because it's not that it bullies you or says you mustn't be creative. It's just that if you, I'll give you a perfect example. When I was 15, I was asked to write an essay on time. And I thought about it. I thought, this is difficult. So I wrote a whole essay about the fact that I hadn't had time to write the essay. You see? Now, the teacher might have smiled or nodded, but he said, John, this isn't a proper essay. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
He wasn't angry with me, but he just said, no, this isn't a proper essay. And it's like Peter Ustinov once told me that he'd done an exam when he was young, and he had to name a Russian composer, and he put Rachmaninoff, and the teacher said, no, it's Tchaikovsky. So this business of getting it right, or more important, not making a mistake, is what kills creativity in people. And the moment that kids get worried about making mistakes, they cease to be creative.
How we all lead busy lives as adults. How do we go about creating the time and the space for that creativity to play?
You just said it. You've got to create a space. I'm using the word in slightly different senses, so let me try and avoid that. You have to create a little private arena for yourself, and you do that by creating boundaries of time, boundaries of space. Now, boundaries of space are so you don't get interrupted. Interruptions are death to creativity. I was talking to Judd Apatow recently, and we quoted pretty much the same statistic. If you're in a creative frame of mind and you have to take a phone call, it takes you about 15 minutes before you get back to rearranging all the stuff, and now you're exactly where you were 15 minutes ago. So that's how destructive any kind of interruptions are. So you've got to seal yourself off from interruptions. I mean, if you're at home, you can say to the wife, can I just sit in here for an hour without interruptions? Will you make sure the kids don't interrupt me? Or if you're at the office, you say to your PA, close the door now, don't interrupt me unless there's a fire. I had a friend at Cambridge who were six people in a working class family, and the only time he could get space to think was when he locked himself in the toilet. If you're bottom of the hierarchy, you may have to go sit in the park. The first thing is boundaries of space so that you're not interrupted. And the second thing is you've got to be separate from real life. So you have to say it starts at this time and it stops at this time. It's a little bit like any kind of football match where the referee blows the whistle, then a whole new set of rules are applied. Nobody else is allowed on the pitch except by special permission. You see what I mean? Then at the end, the referee blows the whistle, and that's the end of it, and we go back to real life. So you've got to have boundaries of space, boundaries of time, and then you sit down. And then the problem then is, Michael, the first thing you think of is, oh, I should have called Bob.
Yeah.
And then you get 15 minutes of, I forgot to buy our pet rabbit a Christmas present. And I wonder why the man looked at me like that in the lift. And what was upsetting my wife this morning, and why doesn't it fucking well stop raining? All those thoughts come into our mind. And if we sit as in meditation and let them settle, eventually they become less demanding and they fade away. And then we just play. We just think, what problem am I trying to solve? And then you just play and you just see what comes up from the unconscious.